good day, if you will. I'm at North Jersey. The town is called Montvale, and it's like right next to the New York border. The story is, I don't know if it was in Montvale, it was somewhere around here. It's North Jersey, right at New York border, and this guy, they call him Schumacher. He passed away, and I believe it was 2017 or 18. I think 2018. Yeah, but anyway, before that, he was driving a truck, doing beer deliveries, and he came back to the warehouse, and he said, "Oh, he went to New York." It showed up on the map because they had still have GPS implanted in the trucks, so it was on the computer. JK over there was watching it, and he found out, he was in New York. I think I pointed it out too. I was like, "What's he doing in New York?" And he came back and he says, he just went over and he said last exit in New Jersey, and he was in New York. I'm like, you sure it wasn't like, first exit in New York? And, JK started grinning and laughing. He was just like, he was just like, he was in a mood to joke about it, but just a memory that popped in my mind when I was driving here on the Parkway. By the way, that guy had he had a I don't say stint on running. I don't think he ever got a ticket for driving a truck on the Parkway, but a couple times he did. He just he says, "I don't care, like fuck it," which wasn't too bad. Just I remember one time he got away and there was like a cop pulled somebody over. He just drove past the cop or something. But it was that story how he he just he wasn't too aware. He wasn't too aware of looking at street signs. He would just drive. He would push it really fast, but he fell all the time and looking at street signs. A lot of times, he had a bad concept of looking at the GPS. He actually used to work in New Jersey. He said in North New Jersey, he said either 17 or 18 years, maybe even 20 years doing landscaping, and it's like he didn't even need a GPS. He knew all the location where the houses were, so he didn't need a GPS even for that. And then he came to the beer distributor job, and I believe it was 2017. Oh, yeah. And one of the stories, and that's when I remember, I remember there was something paranormal going around. We were at this place, and it was, I always mess up. I think it's, South Amboy. And, this guy was like, they call him the Kolega. Because he would say, Kolega. It means hey, buddy, friend in Polish. So we called him Kolega, Indian guy. And he was just, handing out these six packs, and Schumacher, Marek, there, he just grabbed it by the top, and he started yelling at him this and the other thing. I remember making a joke. Colleague over there said, "How long you did this to him?" And I was like, "He did this for 18 years, landscaping." He started "Oh, okay, but that's," I kind of broke up the ice there, trying to break up the ice. I don't think he deserved that, but we got in the truck, and I started talking, and I was like, "Oh, the thing is, he was abused by his older brother." And, I think I remember asking Claire if he had a siblings and stuff like that. But it was really, it was Marek that supposedly was abused by his older brother, He told me stories he would beat on him and stuff, he would just, he told me his brother was very cheap, this and that. I don't know who the guy is. And it was just, I wouldn't be too surprised if him or his brother knew my so-called cousin or brother. And that's he knew me from this, that. Maybe he even saw me on Blog TV, or now in this, mental contact. Maybe he read my thoughts years ago or something like that. And, yeah, it was just odd how, he found his way, 15, 60 miles south of Elmwood Park, maybe a little bit more. And it's you're making what, $500 something a week, when before you were making $1,000 a week, supposedly, doing landscape, or even more, And he said, he was tired from riding the lawnmower. He was on an older side, but it's like he never really told me where he knew me from or where he knew my cousin or brother from. But I don't remember if I had like flashback of Lucas's life and how he knew these guys. He was a bit silly fellow, but I'm a silly fellow as well. He just saw me, I want to say, bad part of my life. Actually, a lot of years were bad parts of my life. So, the last memory I have, I already talked about it. He really wanted to go home. He wasn't feeling well. His son, supposedly got good grades in his last semester in college or whatever. He did well, and he was driving his truck, and it's like, I didn't want to take this route to go all the way to his house when, it's like, we could just take the route and go to, the warehouse. That was one of my last memories of him. It was spring. It was spring, and then he just didn't come in, and I called him like 2-3 times. The last 2 times I talked to him over the phone, I couldn't understand what he was saying. He was slurring speech. He was incoherent. So that was my last memory. I left him 2 voicemails, and time went by. I was sitting outside, on my deck. I was drinking some beers, and his wife called me. She said, "Oh, you left him voicemail. This and that. Mark, Mark Marek, he passed away." Before she told me he was in hospice. Like, she told me he passed away. He was in hospice for sometime like a month. I texted JK over there. He was like, "Talk the movies," and that was it. I felt bad for the guy, I really did. He was talking to JK about, like some vacation money and stuff that they owed him, and it was like a whole thing. Like, JK got angry at me for even asking from him. It's just fucking ridiculous. But after JK ripping me off for like $80 for gasoline, a couple other times for this and the other thing, I wouldn't be surprised if Marek was right. Also, I was thinking about, this Polish artist said, I'm pretty sure he's not the only one, that life is a series of memories, whether good or bad, you're always gonna take them with you. Even now I'm starting to think about other people passing. This guy, his dog passed away. And it's like, people made jokes that, his dog passed away, like he had a funeral for him, this and that. And just thinking, one of my cats, they're companions, and it just brought me to the ground, brought me to the floor. How much is a life worth? Maybe some people just went too far and they missed an exit. And sometimes, I laugh at them because they didn't pay attention to signs. Very obvious ones.